I found one of the best training aids to help someone understand how a boat maneuvers at Home Depot several years ago. And if you don't know how to drive a boat and you're working with me, we're going to end up at Home Depot sooner or later. Welcome to Boat Training Online. I'm Shawn Pollard. And before we get into the weeds too far here, I want to tell you a little story about me and my sister. When we were little curtain climbers, my mom tried for at least a week to teach us how to tie our shoes. Every morning we'd get dressed, she'd give us a little class, and we tried to tie our shoes, but we weren't getting it. We went next door to the two little girls to play, and they had us tying our shoes in 10 minutes. We came back and showed our mom that we could tie our shoes. And it wasn't that my mom was not a good teacher, and it wasn't that we weren't teachable, but those two little girls came at us from a different angle, a different perspective. And that's what I want to do here today at Home Depot. I'm going to come at you from a different angle. So what's the problem? The problem is when you learned how to drive, you learned in a car or a truck, when you got in, fired it up, put it in gear and took off, you turned the wheel and the entire chassis followed those front tires. But that's not what happens on a boat. All the turning gear, and I don't care what kind of boat, all the turning gear is in the back. So that changes everything. This little training aid will drive this point home. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is the training aid I'm talking about. It's a flat cart and the wheels turn in the back. Like a boat. All the turning gear on a boat is in the back, and this cart, the handle is in the back. It's meant to be pushed, not pulled, and I see a lot of people that don't know how to, they want it to operate like a car, so they pull it. But this cart was designed to be pushed, and the turning gear is in the back. So, here's what I see all the time. When people treat a boat like it's a car, they want to, if this is the dock and this is your boat, we want to go over here to the left. They get in, fire it off, throw their lines in, and then they put the engines forward and they go straight down the dock. The problem is on a boat, if you want the bow to go to the left, if you want to turn to the left, the stern has got to go to the right. It's a rule. It can't make the turn if it can't go to the right. So here's what I see. They start going down the dock. They can't go. The stern cannot go to the right. The fenders are going in circles. Pretty soon the fenders start popping out. They're raw dogging it down the side of the dock. And once it clears, once this stern clears, now the stern can go to the right. The bow, you're getting the perspective that you're turning to the left, and you take off. You're underway and you're going about your way. So no problem without a solution. How would I get off the dock? Instead of raw dogging it down the side of the dock here, what I would do is I would back off. Actually, I would give it some right rudder and just tap the engine ahead, and that's going to push my bow into the dock. My bow is going to go to the right, but it's going to kick my stern out. Now I shift my rudder and I just start backing off. The relationship is the same thing with the bow and the stern. If you want the stern to go to the left, the bow is going to go to the right. So you don't want to slam your bow into the dock. You might have to ease your rudder a little bit, but you're going to get off the dock. And now once you do that, you have to understand that you have to purchase enough real estate to get that stern to go to the right and make that turn. So if you come around, you don't want to slam back into the dock. You have to get far enough off the dock so that you can, again, purchase that real estate. We got to come in, the stern has got to go to the right, and then we take off when we make our turn. Okay, here's another option. Again, the same thing. I would kick my bow in so it kicked my stern out, and then I would back down But instead of just purchasing the real estate and going back in, I would shift my rudder and have the stern still keep going backwards, and I've done everything in reverse with the stern propulsion. I've come off the dock and now I've turned. Now I put it in neutral, let it settle out, put it in forward, and I'm pretty much heading down the road. So that's another option. But again, I'm getting off the dock by backing down. Okay, here's another problem that I see with boaters not understanding that everything happens at the back of the boat. They get too close to other boats, or they get too close to a dock or whatever, and they instinctually want to turn and get out of the problem. And I'll show you what happens. When I'm getting too close to these other boats and I want to turn, I want to get away from them. I'm too close. So what they do is they turn their wheel hard to the right. Remember, if you want to go to the right, the stern is going to go to the left, and this is what happens. Boom. They take out several boats because of the relationship between where you want to go and what happens with the stern. All the turning action happens in the back. So what do? You're here, you're too close, stop and back out of it. Back out of it and get yourself where you can purchase that real estate and get down the road. Okay, now I've shown you a couple scenarios of situations that I see people having a hard time when they try and operate their boat like it's a car. At the end of the day, though, I want you to have fun. The whole reason we're here at Home Depot is to have fun. And the great thing about Home Depot is they're everywhere. If you're in Minnesota, if you're in Idaho, Florida, usually you can find a Home Depot. They also have these carts at Lowe's, but they're more plentiful at Home Depot. So have fun with it. Bring your kids, your spouse, and push this around. And I guarantee you're going to start laughing when you do it, because these things operate just like a boat. And if you have a little tiger with you, watch how they get out of situations. They'll always back out. So I hope this was fun. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm going to end this clip with a police officer down in DC. He's trying to operate his boat like it's a car, and I want you to see what the consequence is. So if you've made it this far, I always appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you.
Boating accident. Call the police. Wait a minute. That is the police. A Washington, D.C. harbor patrol boat slammed into two docked boats as it took off, siren wailing. Witnesses say it was answering a distress call of people possibly in the water. Turns out the now sinking boat was on loan. It's a holiday weekend. You borrow a boat, you dock it, you're hanging out at a dockside restaurant with friends. What could possibly go wrong? Shawn found out the hard way.
Somebody came in and said, a boat's been hit, and you walk out in the crowd, there's 100 people or so crowded around where our boat was, and the left side completely submerged.
Time to let the owner know there's a giant hole in your boat.
Kind of not the phone call you want to make.
But owner Sherry Saunders took it really well.
It's not his fault. I'm glad he wasn't on it. I'm glad he's not hurt.
There's even cell phone video of one of the officers aboard the police boat that caused the accident telling the owner to relax. Can't imagine being more relaxed than Sherry.
Accidents happen, people do stupid things, and I'm sure they'll take care of it and make things right.
Police say they're investigating, but this isn't exactly Watergate. Actually, that's Watergate right there in the background where the famous break-in occurred. All that's been broken here is a boat. At least Shawn had a sense of humor about it.
No pun intended, my heart sank.
I think that pun was intended. This is what wasn't intended. Holy how! Ginny Mo, CNN, New York.